Up to that Chal Vav Aleph, Rashi Chafim Beit on the bottom of the page. We're right in the middle of the sugi of Oisig and Mitzvah Potter and Mitzvah. It seems everybody agrees to this principle of Oisig Mitzvah Potter and Mitzvah. The only question is, where do we learn it from? So we said we learn in both places, and they complement each other. It says the Gemara at the bottom of the page. Taraban, we learned Chassan and V'Hashushbin, the immediate party, V'Chol B'nei Chup, and everybody else is participating. Apaturim apatim minat tefillah. They are pater from davening, minat tefillin they are pater from tefillin, and chayovim bekrishma. But the Tanakama holds that they're all chayiv and krishma. Why the chayiv and krishma? If oisig mitzvah pater minat mitzvah, why the chayiv and krishma? So Rashi actually learns that Tanakama holds that oisig mitzvah is not pater minat mitzvah. So why are they then even in fact pater from tefillah? Because they need to focus. They cannot focus. Why are they pater from tefillin? Because we're scared that they're going to get a bit inebriated. But kishma, because there's only one pasuk that you need kavanah, control yourself, and you should be able to do that. However, Rab Sheila, the name Rab Sheila said chassan is pater. Chassan is pater also from krishma, and because the chassan is so tzutrogan, he's so confused, he can't really concentrate at all. They're the ones who are chayiv and krishma. So the way Rashi learns that both of these Tanaim do not agree with the whole principle of Oisig Mitzvah Potter and Mitzvah. Tais agrees. The big machlekes is showing how to learn Pshat in Gemara. That's how Rashi and Tais learned. And in fact, there's a whole discussion whether the Rambam even in the halacha rules that Oisig Mitzvah Potter and Mitzvah or maybe not.
So maybe it's not appropriate to be having a minyan when you're at a wedding or whatever?
Yeah, we definitely hold today that looking at Yeremiah and all that. We do that. We don't focus, unfortunately, that much.
Right.
We can do that. Tanya, the Eibishter was a shusban of Adam Rishon by the wedding. Yeah. Tanya, we learned. Rab Chananya, the son of Kavi, said, those who write Sifrei Torah or Tefillin, or those who write Tefillin, or those who write mezuzahs, Hein Day, so they're doing a mitzvah of writing. Also Tagreyan, the merchants, and also Tagreyan, the wholesalers, the retailers. And any other activity that you're doing on behalf of the Eibishter, to include those who sell tzitzis. We sell the blue wool for the tzitzis. Apturin mikrishma min tefillah umitfilin umikol mitzvahs v'amudas b'teidah. So if we take kol mitzvah b'teidah, why you say krishma tefillah and tefillin? Rabbeinu Tam learns, I told you, only those mitzvahs are similar, which are mitzvah seishas man grumble. And everyone else who learns good applies to all mitzvahs. They just said because the previous brayso mentioned those three things. That's the only thing they're part of. So we include that plus kol mitzvah b'teidah. So this actually supports a bit more Rabbeinu Yena and Rabbeinu Tam we discussed yesterday about only mitzvah seishas man grumble. Comes out from here that even a merchant, someone who sells Hashvish Kodesh, is considered doing a mitzvah.
Mr. Gold.
That's right. So most of the whole supply chain. So it comes out the only one who's not included is the buyer. We're the only one to keep the business, keep the wheels rolling, and we get no credit. But from here they want to bring a raya that a mitzvah that rabbanan or oisig mitzvah rabbanan is potter from a mitzvah that because you're saying you potter to learn. And others want to argue that this might even be a mitzvah ha'tayda, or because it's a mitzvah berabim. Any mitzvah that is involved in the entire community, even the rabbanan is strong enough to part you for a mitzvah in the tayda. Yeah. And those who hold it, but Mr. Rabbanah push away the rice because it says b'shivtecha b'sheves didoch. I'm not sitting here for my own reason. I'm sitting here, even though it's the Rabbanan only, but I'm not sitting here for me. So therefore, it's included in the Oisig Mitzvah Potter Minavit. Even though these people are also doing it for Panos as well, nevertheless, even though some of the say only they do it for Umzist, but nevertheless, even though doing it for Panos, they could have chosen other Panos doing this. The kind of Shaglili, and this was the word of Shaglili, right? Obviously, but Oisig Mitzvah Potter Mitzvah. Someone's Oisig Mitzvah Potter Mitzvah. Strange lotion, just so said because Oisig Mitzvah Mitzvah. These are the words of Shaglili to support. It's hard to understand why you want to bring such a lotion. Okay. Anyway, tell me what we learned. Those who travel by day, by day, because remember the theme is Teisha came to do. You have to live in a sukkah like you live at home. At home, you never go to business, so therefore you're allowed to go to business even though you live in a sukkah. But by night you're not traveling. Travel at night to the sukkah, but we can't continue traveling to the sukkah. If you're on the way of business, if you be home, you go to business. Here also you go to business, and while you're not doing business, you should go for a sukkah. But while you do business, you are pot. But bar mitzvah is different. Even though they're only traveling by day, but because at night they're still worried about make sure that they can pursue their mitzvah, they don't want to be distracted anyway. They're potted even at night. They were traveling to shift to the Rigla. They were traveling there for the Shabbos Yom Tov, for the Rosh is the Beit Eish Gelusa, to the house of Gelusa. Have they gone to Raks? The sort of where do they sleep? Outside. They slept outside. They slept by the seashore, by the river. They argued, Anan Shluche Mitzvah Nanu Patrin. They couldn't look Patrin. If you look for me, didn't bother looking. That's one that that even if you could do the other mitzvah, you don't have to. We had the same story in that Yudam Beis, but over there it's a little bit different. They Nachman put them into a sukkah that there was a sadin over there, and he wanted to see. And he said, "Oh, you guys changed your mind?" And they said, "No, we're part of the sukkah anyway." So it must happen 2 different times. Over there, Rashi says he only went to see the Reish Gelusa. Over here, Rashi says he went to Gelusa and to hear the drasha. So over here we add the word to shift to the Rigla. So interesting. What exactly is the Reish Gelusa? Generally, was not the one who gave the shiur. Yeah, but yet in the funeral days, Rashi says he only went to see the Reish. He went to see the Reish Gelusa, and Rashi says to Mekayin and it's a Kabbalah Pnei. Rashi says over here, that could be. So in the house of the Reish Gelusa. Over here, Rashi says, Rashi says Lahagbu Pnei Reish Goyla. The Chayiv Odin Lahagbu Pnei Rabbi. The Reish Goyla is a gather of Lahagbu Pnei Rabbi. Here Rashi says that Shebonu l'shmoya hadrasha ulahaglu pnei Reish Gelusa. 2 different yonim. The Reish Gelusa was not the guy who was giving the drasha; it was somebody else. So what's this chiddush that Rashi says? But the same 2 Amoraim, the same as Gelusa. It's as if Rashi, I haven't seen him talk about it, but as if Rashi is saying going to visit royalty because they were from the house of David, they were royalty. Which we learn in more brachas is an inyan to see royalty, also comes under the Gedel Hagla Pnei Rabbi. Remember we said that a person has to go be Makabel royalty. In this Yavchin, Moshe will appreciate it.
So this thing of them stay on the riverbank, because they wanted to stay in the Mokum, it's another temporary thing.
I'm going to want to stay in Mokum. It's a detour. They wanted to go on the way. It's a detour. Anyway, interesting. The guards of a city during the day, they are potter from a sukkah. They by day, but Chayom Alai were no longer on guard duty. The Chayim sukkah. Alayla, they're guarding at night. Their shifts are at night. Sorry, Shemir Balayla, Pturim and Asuk Balayla. So the example of night, the Chayovin Hayim. Shemir Bein Beyem Bemelayla. If these are guards that have holy shifts, then Pturim and Asuk Bein Beyem Bemelayla. What about Shemir Ganas or Pradesi? Those people who guard garden. No, but no. 24 hours a day, they're out there somewhere. What about Shemir Ganas or Pradesim? Those who watch gardens or those who watch orchards. Turim, a potter, Bein B'yom or Bein B'layla, a potter side by day and side by night. Could they live there out in the garden, so they're out there somewhere? So therefore, they're potter the whole time while they are there. If anyone ever left the sukkah house, they're going to be there constantly. Why not build a sukkah there? What kind of excuse is that? The lace and sit inside. Abai says, Teishu ke'ain to do. What do you do? So Rashi learns the way you live a whole year, you have a right to live in your house. The way you live a whole year in your house, you have a right to live in the sukkah. You need furniture, you need bed givan, you need all your linen and everything else that you normally have, and you leave your house, and you bring that into your sukkah. Rashi says, Mitoisav, Klik Tashmisha, Mitzoisav, everything. And you can't bring it too far away, and it's too big of a schlep. It's not next to your house. This is out in a remote area. But that's Teishu Kein Taduru exempts them from bringing a sukkah. So Rashi Pshat Teishu Taduru is not that you should live in a sukkah like a house, even though it's supposed to be arai, but you have to be able to bring all your furniture there. In a 7 tefachim sukkah by 7 tefachim sukkah, 10 tefachim high, how much furniture can you fit in? Anyway, no, but you can use that as an exemption. Rava says, Pirza Koira Legana. Rava says, if you're going to build yourself a hut there, then the Ganav will see that you're locked up. So they feel free, they feel emboldened that they can go steal the fruits. Because you can't see. If you have no hut, you're outdoors, you can see everything. If you're inside a hut, you can't see. My benai, they come into Kadia de Peder. What is the difference? Let's say you're watching only a whole keddy, a whole area, like a granary full of fruits. So you can stand there and watch the whole time. But there's no Pirza Koira Legana. On the other hand, you still have to schlep all your belongings out there by your pot. Teisha already says, doesn't mean Rabbi disagrees with the concept Teisha Geduru. Teisha says, he doesn't explain, so how come he doesn't use that reason? So other than say, because here you're using Teisha Kain to Duru to for Tircha you're exempt. Teisha Kain to Duru will cost you money. You know, with Pirza Koira Legana, it's also good Teisha Kain to Duru. But here's incur a loss. Okay, we'll use Teisha Kain to Duru because you incur a loss. But stand because it's a schlep to go there, that's not an excuse. That's what they're arguing. Choilim, a sick person, umisham sheyem, and those who their attendants. Machlekes, the Lavush says the reason is altogether for oisig mitzvah pot na mitzvah. That the people who take care of the chayla are doing a mitzvah, and therefore oisig mitzvah pot na mitzvah. Others say because they're not because that quotation going to do. Then in home also you would leave to go to the sick person. And since the sick person is possible, they're pot. From I learned. Somebody mom is dying and I feel not dying. I feel he only has an eye ache. I feel but he has a headache. Any of these instances, anybody who attended, not only the exam, but also his attendant like that. Once I had the issues with my eyes. Because sorry, Rabbi Yossi Beribi. Rabbi Yossi Beribi, Rashi says Beribi means he's the chacham and the sharpest in his whole generation, and that is Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. He allowed me, he permitted me, Elisha and Ani, he allowed me to sleep together, I with all my shamoshim to sleep outside the sukkah. Sleep outside the sukkah. Rav allowed, permitted the Bachabadlo, the Migna to sleep, Bekilsa Besukkah. He allowed to sleep in this bed. And even though he had a canopy and it had a roof of one type of wide, he allowed me to sleep in the sukkah. And in L'chayda, even though the one opinion says you're allowed to in the economy, but we don't agree. I look like that. Why he allowed me Shabaki? Because of mosquitoes, he allowed me to have this canopy there. Rabbi Shari let to sleep. Bar Metalauta, he allowed me to sleep outside the sukkah because the foul smell on the floor. Even though we learned the floor, you shouldn't build a sukkah with a foul smell. So maybe this has only happened afterwards. The smell came out. It didn't happen straight away. Over the Yevid, it happened. Interesting. Both things that they needed permission for was for sleeping. To sleep outside the sukkah bed. What about eating? It seems to me eating you still have to force yourself. Even if it's a bad smell, it seems to me eating you have to force yourself. It's only sleeping that it's impossible to sleep, I guess, when it's about a terrible smell. But eating, you can still eat. Maybe. So anyway, right, the Rabbi is consistent views. I'm a Rabbi, Mitzvah part of the sukkah. A Mitzvah is part of the sukkah. Why taka Mitzvah part of the sukkah? Because it's a unique thing in sukkah, as Taisha says over here, because Taisha came to do it. If you lived at home and you're having tzah, would you remain there? No, you would leave. So Taisha came to do it. Now, why that's fascinating, we'll have this later on Tessel Beis over the Bryce there. Why it's fascinating is the Chidah brings from Aksav one of the Shainim that the Radvaz. Won't go too much into it, but the Radvaz says you're allowed to take, if you have a lot of hair on your head in the Meya Svida, you're allowed to take a haircut. Why? Because you're inside. And he says as follows: Ma the Chametz, which is a mitzvah in the Torah Potem and Sukkah, surely Isa the Rabbanon of taking a haircut during the 7 weeks, surely you're allowed to be over. You hear what the Razvaz is saying? That mitzvah is not a din of Sukkah, it's a din of Kol HaTorah Kula. But he limits it to mitzvahs the Rabbanon. That you can use it as Kal V'Chaim, that any mitzvah Rabbanon that causes you pain, you potter. The Chidah brings a Rishon, like Sadia the Rishon, I think the Rashba, who says that Kol HaTorah Kula, HaMitzvah potter min HaSukkah, Kol HaTorah Kula. Thank God no one knows about this Chidah. I just told you this. But this is like an amazing Chidah. Very dangerous. I won't give a long clip on this, but it's I think it's written off somewhere. But it's fascinating. But the way all the Shem al-Asad bring that is a dinner sukkah because Teisha gave you.
We say things even like a headache.
Oh, there we allow you, but also dinner sukkah.
I'm saying if you apply that same din.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, migraine, finished. Yeah. It's true, yeah, but that doesn't mean Allah is defending a mice what he did.
No, it's like it could be matched with somebody else who's reported from other person.
Fair enough, but that advice clearly uses the truth about regarding taking a haircut. And what's the sachaka? It's long hair. How much pain? I don't know how much pain. I wouldn't remember how much pain I had having long hair. But the Gemara, now we learned it sounds like a sick person, yeah. But if you're having tzar, where do you have this idea that tzar pot sukkah? And the Mishnah is talking about a chayla and trying to tell you that also the shamashim are pot. That you only find by a chayla. By saying in Mistayir, who pot? Mistayir is a very personal thing. You're pot, shamashim, not those who attend to you. They're not pot. They are not pot. When the Rabbi says Hamistaya pot on sukkah, he's talking about where the sukkah itself causes you pain. Rashi says Mistaya min has sukkah, like it rains in the sukkah or something, causing you pain. Yeah. The sick person is pot from the sukkah because Teshukate the duru. Not necessarily because Mistaya. Oichli machilas arech with the sukkah, level snack out of the sukkah, become machilas arech. What's a casual meal? Out of it, tarti a class bay, 2 or 3 eggs. Everybody already asked if it's 2 eggs. What do you tell me? Sorry, if it's 3 eggs, what do you tell me 2 eggs? 3 eggs is out of casual. Surely 2 eggs is casual. As if it's covering 2 opinions. We had a few times in Machlekes, we had an area of Machlekes Rishonim, sorry, Tanoim, and then Machlekes Rashi and Rambam. If a pras, a half a loaf of bread, is a loaf of bread 8 eggs and half is 4 eggs, or a loaf of bread 6 eggs and half is 3 eggs. That's a meal. So 1 egg less than that is casual. So if you learn that it's an 8 egg, which 4 eggs is, so 3 eggs is a casual, and 3 eggs is 2 eggs a casual.
No, so everything we need to do what the sheet over there.
We have Tanoim, it's not Tanoim. In Eidim if it's for what's a plus? 4 eggs or 3 eggs. And that goes with Machlekes Rishonim, who the halacha like. But in this game happen occasions, I don't know, 2 eggs and 3 eggs, it can be a meal. What do you tell me? It's a casual meal. The mama says, why don't you have a sukkah? What does the shir eat for breakfast in the morning? But a shir eats for breakfast when he goes to shul, and he's worried that maybe the shir will go longer and he'll be hungry. So therefore, he eats a mouthful and he drinks. What's a mouthful? A mouthful is the size of a beyer. I tell you, so this is a share when it comes to bread. When it comes to fruits, it doesn't matter how much you eat. It's always casual. As we had in Mariuma. But chainas ara you can't have outside of the sukkah. What's the chiluk sleeping and eating? Says the Gemara, my time. What's the difference? Eating, you're allowed to eat a casual meal outside of sukkah, but sleeping, you're not allowed to eat casual. Oh, Amar Abashi, Gzeira, Shema, Yirdim, we are worried, Pashit, that you are going to fall asleep. Yeah. Now, we had this a few times already where Abashi is talking to Rava. I always point it out. Or here's a buyer talking to Rashi. It's impossible. We had Margitin, that the day that Rava died. That's Rashi. The Rambam seems to learn that they overlap. Others want to say the 2 Ravashis. And from all the Gemaras we had in the past, in Yuma and other places, it's clearly that there were 2 Ravashis. But another hand still straight. Ravashi, other Rashis in the time of Rebbe, the time of Rav, how was he talking to Rav and Abaye, 2 generations later? So I'm just saying that he brings it from the Gillian Hashas that this was a second Ravashi. It's not the same Ravashi. If you look on the side, I go soon in Charlotte, he brings a he doesn't bring the opinion of Rambam that they overlap, he just brings that there's 2 Ravashis. How can a buy talk to Ravashi? All the time we learned Yashan of Mishnah is out of it filling you're not sleep casual sleep. Why do you worry you'll fall asleep? Avaloshen is Keva. New Lakers made them now that you tell me now I sleep a permanent sleep. Why you allowed to even sleep a nap? Maybe you turn into a permanent sleep, a long sleep. What's a chiluk of sukkot film? That's Maisa about tefillin. Talking about you ask somebody, watch me. If I sleep more than 15 minutes, tap me on my shoulder or something, wake me up. Masculine Mishash has a question. What about who's going to guarantee you guarantee? What if he decides to go to sleep? You can't rely on that. That price about tefillin says you're allowed to have a casual nap. It's talking about you place your head between your feet, between your knees. So surely you can't sleep permanently. You can sleep for a couple of minutes, but then you'll wake up. Remember, when somebody was saying that why Chassim used to enjoy sleeping, why he used to enjoy sleeping in 7-7. He didn't go home, sleep in his room. He sleep in 7-7. Why? Because he says, when do you enjoy your sleep? Once you're asleep, you have no idea you're sleeping. You only enjoy sleep when you're going to sleep. You sleep on a bench. You keep every 10-15 minutes, you fall off the bench. And I'm constantly going to sleep. So I'm having a long night of pleasure. And that's what he's saying over here. But Meniach Roishe Bein Birkov.
I think when I do a sleep study in hospital,
That's a cheshbon. So you Meniach Roishe Bein Birkov, you place your head between your feet, you're constantly waking up. Rava says that's why I'm not worried, but just know that still we maintain the swara. The reason why you're not allowed to take a nap is because it might turn into a permanent sleep. Rava says, "Ain't careful." She knows that no. When it comes to sleep, even a cat nap sometimes is enough to keep you going for a long time. So there's no time limit. It's not like eating, a size of a beya, and it's casual. There's nothing as casual. A deep sleep for 5 minutes can do wonders. In fact, they always say, drive and take a cat nap. My car every 50 minutes says it's time to go for a nap. Knows me better than I know myself. We learned in one place, in one place we learned that by tefillin you're allowed to sleep casually, but not a long sleep. But Tanya, another place we learned a nap, but not a sleep. Bein keva, bein arai, that both permitted, even a sleep. And the Tanya, on the third place we learned loy keva, not even a casual sleep, not even a nap. What's going on here? Like kasha, different circumstances. Hard to knock a big yod. If you're holding your hand, then you shouldn't even have a nap because you might just drop it. Might slip chas from out of your hand, so you shouldn't do that. Hard to man, if you're lying on your head, you can sleep. A nap, take a nap, but you cannot sleep. Hard the part is suddenly alaya. Here's Thomas lying on the bed and you covered it next to you with something. Then here, whether asleep or whether a nap is not a problem. Because a person has to sleep. The kamo shenas arai, what's considered a nap? But the time it takes to walk 100 amma. They say it takes 3 minutes on me. Time it takes to walk 100 amma. Tanya, we learned how Yoshem between a keddy. Somebody's leaving tefillin, and then he sees a keddy, so you have to remove them from your head. Don't hold on your tefillin because you have the shin on it. Hold on to the straps. But do not hold on to the tefillin itself. Don't hold on the tefillin. Don't hold on to the Rabbi Yaakov. Say Yoshem Adam betfillin shenas ara. You can have a casual sleep and nap. Avaloi shenas keva. The kamba shein is are what's considered a casual nap. Today he look me the time it takes to walk 100 amas. There's a discussion whether Chacham or arguing of Yaakov they're saying something totally different. Yaakov just saying that when you have a keddy you have to remove it, and the Chacham talk about you can have a nap. So are they really arguing? Because some say yes, because he's saying that you're allowed to even sleep. Hayosha b'tefillin, you're allowed to even sleep. The only thing is, if you happen to have a keddy, as soon as you have a keddy, you wake up. Remove the tefillin from your head. Others say it's not really arguing at all. Also, a person should not sleep during the day longer than what a horse sleeps. The kama shein is how long does a horse sleep? Shisin nishimi, 60 breaths, which is a big machlekes in Achreim how much it is. Most people say it's a half an hour. But others say less than 18 minutes. The whole like 13 minutes. Omar Abai says Abai. Shin say the sleep of my teacher, which was Rabba, is Kiderav. Rabba slept like Rav slept. And how did Rav sleep? Like a Rebbe. Now Rashi is an interesting here. What do you mean Rav learned a Rebbe? So Rabba learned from Rav. So look at it in the Rashi, Kerab, 3 lines on the top. The Mimenu Lomad Midashenosai. Rabba learned from Rav how to sleep. Rav slept this time. Sorry, the next Hashem meant. And Rav learned from Rebbe. Rashi says Rav Kirebi. For Rav Lomda Rabbeinu Kodesh Shegodol Etzloi. Where did Rashi get this from? So the Rav was raised by Rebbe.
Wasn't Rav from
Yeah, that's the reason. So raised Godel Etzloi.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, what does it mean? We had a Rashi in Ditin where Rashi says that the Rav was not from the better students. He was a fellow in his own right. Remember Rabbi Yochanan said, you know who Rav is? Remember the fire sitting around in a circle? But where did Rashi get that Shegodol Etzloi? That the Rav was raised by Rebbe. Don't know. Especially according to those who say Rav lived for 400 years. When exactly did it happen? So Rav passed away in time right before Shmuel. So Rabbi Yehuda Rav, then Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel. So Rav would have been 300 plus by the time we get to Rebbe. Anyway, don't know. And Rebbe, this is the Chapad Dremel during the day. And the Rebbe kidded David. The Rebbe was like David. And Rebbe heard, the Rashi says it wasn't Rebbe wasn't raised by David. But Kach Kibu Ma'avaisa. It's a tradition. Remember we learned in Gemara Shabbos that Rebbe comes from David HaMelech from not from Shleim, but from God's daughter. And this is how David HaMelech used to sleep. And David Kidasusia slept like a horse. And the Susia she's in 60 breaths. Now the difference is David HaMelech slept like this way by night. All these David slept this way by day. But look at the Pella here. Yeah, Chatz's light. How come I yeah, less than half an hour. Slept like a horse. Abaya had the Nayim. Now this is a Pella Kigbar here. Don't know exactly how I'm shot unless the other Gisois. Abaya used to sleep. The time this is during the day, the time it takes to walk the time it takes to walk from Pumpadisa to Beikuvi. And Rashi says, and what's the distance? 6 parsa. A parsa takes 72 minutes to walk. So 6 parsa takes you 6 hours, takes you 7 hours and 12 minutes. So Rashi, Abaye used to sleep every day. His siesta took him 7 hours and 12 minutes. Kordiel Rabbi Yosef, so his teacher, called him. He used the pasuk ad Mosai Atzel. He called him, you lazy one. Tishkav, how much can you sleep already? Mosai Tankum Mishnah Secha. When are you gonna wake up? And that's Abaya. Another Abaya was a farmer. He used to.
What's the condition that we can stop thing?
Insomniac. Oh, you have that sleep thing, sleep apnea.
If you have these things, and you probably have to sleep all the time.
So when did Abaya become Abaya? If he slept 7 hours, almost every day by day. Imagine if he wouldn't have slept, what Abaya would be like. Maybe then the Allah will be like him. Anyhow, there must be.
Brains, their minds, they have things much more quickly.
Yeah, but Avoy is the Abaya Rav is the paradigm for all learning. Just let me get says it's a bay. Let's see the other gears here. Everyone says they have no idea where Rashi gets it from, that it's 6 parsa. They say it's a toy safe in Rashi. And Fasema says, Kudim do Malisha is toy safe in Rashi. The Tzadikli is Shisa bib parsa, a 60th of a parsa. So why would I just call him you lazy one? A 60th of a parsa is how long? 10 minutes, exactly. And he called him you lazy one. He had a rough teacher. During the day, he couldn't go to sleep for 10 minutes. Anyway, I guess it's easier to accept that he slept for 10 minutes instead of 6, 7 hours. Yeah. I know you don't remember. Okay, anyway, we're right. That's what we learned. If you went to sleep by day, if you go to sleep by day, if you want, you can remove your tefillin. Remember those days, those times, we'll see what involved the whole discussion about film. Those times they used to wait for all day, so it's up to you whether you want to remove it or you want to leave it. Why? We're talking now about if, are we worried that you're going to have relations with your wife and you're going to wear tefillin on yet? So when it comes to a casual sleep, no, but we don't want a permanent sleep for the reason we said before. Now, sleeping itself is not a problem with tefillin. The problem is that you and so on, they might find a keddy. Even though, how does this fit into the other Gemara we learned about Hesach Hadas? And this is one that I say Hesach Hadas doesn't just mean you didn't think about it. It means, Kalus Rosh. Everybody says no that. Okay. Balai, well, no, we just get to that. It's not a day now. Balaila, but when it comes to nighttime, you have to remove the film even for a nap. Why? The Einamaniach. So, could we learned already? If you're already wearing tefillin by day, you can continue wearing it tonight. You're not allowed to put on tefillin at night. But if you're wearing by day, you can continue wearing it at night. But at night, don't even take a nap. Why? Because then you might turn into a full sleep. Abiyasi said, "Hi, you Lord. When it comes to bachrim or newlyweds, sitting for a nap, even during the day, they remove the tefillin because they might turn into marital relations. They ain't manichin, and they definitely do not put it on before they go to sleep. They should gilin betum, because we think that these bachrim, even though they're not married, they're going to have these lewd thoughts and they'll lead to keddy, and that's the use of sleeping. So therefore, we don't want it. Because Rashi says, "Shahirun motzi behen." That's what bachrim think about. Lema Kasaba Rabbi Yasi Balkedi also Lanir Tefillin. So I'm going to ask Rabbi Yasi seems to be holding that a Balkedi doesn't wear tefillin. What's the problem? And Rashi says, and you know the halach is always like Rabbi Yasi, because he said Rabbi Yasi Nimuka Imoy, that we always his right is with him. Or no, but Yolodim, we're talking when we say we Bachim, I'm not worried about Balkedi. We're talking about Bachim who are married. Then it should say anymore. I mean, young people, which are newlyweds. And therefore, they might turn into marital relationship. Might turn into something, and therefore they should remove the tefillin before they go to bed. Because they might forget that they're wearing tefillin. You're not allowed to have kalus reish. Heskadar Rashi seems to be saying that heskadar means kalus reish. What happened? You forgot. V'shimish b'tasa b'tefillin. Remember in those days, tefillin was just one of the clothing you wore, like we had tzitzis. So he wore tefillin and he had tashmish. Einu oiches, and now you tell me, do not hold loy b'tzua. Here he says, don't even hold your strap, nor with the bottom itself, because it has David's name on it. Ad yitul yadav, until he washes his hand, the yitlam, and then he takes it. He's saying, may scare that your hand would have touched something that you shouldn't have touched. So before, when you had a keri, he says, don't hold on the tzitza, but the ritzuis you can. Here, where you had tashmish, we say that you shouldn't even hold the Ritzus either. Mishnah. So before we learned, the third din in the previous Mishnah was that you can eat casual outside the sukkah. Says what might the story. They brought him food to taste to see whether they think it's good or not. That's where obviously a small amount. They brought him 2 days with Lishamai in a pail of water. Even fruits we had more humid in the face. That fruits is not a problem because any fruit is considered as casual. And they both said, bring it to the sukkah, which seems to contradict the previous Mishnah that says that for you don't have to go in the sukkah. No, we'll ask. When they gave to Rav Tzaddik to eat as well, they gave him to eat food less than the size of an egg. Not he took it with a mappa. He didn't wash his hands because it was not. He didn't eat a bay, and that's why you don't make a bracha if you're going to eat less than a bay. So he didn't wash his hands because he ate less than a bay. And why? So why take a mappa roll? Taisha says because he was a kohen, and Rashi says because of the keys. On the other hand, but he also holds chut sukkah. If it's less than the size of an egg, you don't need a sukkah. Like we said before, the size of an egg is what you need a sukkah. And didn't bench afterwards as well, because he held like Rabbi Yehuda that when do we say b'chalto savat rachta, the heim medakting and last one ad kazayis ad kebeya, according to the Meir is a kazayis, Rabbi Yehuda as a beya, and he passed him like Rabbi Yehuda. This long takes as it goes to prove that the halacha is actually like a Meir that we bench by a kazayis. So Rabbi Yechanan by Shim Meshetach for his brother-in-law. Yana HaMelech, he ate a kazayas dog and bench for them. Think about Ma'is and Lister. You bring a story to contradict it. It's actually missing some words. But normally we say if you have wild chumras, it's mechze kiyur. It looks like you're wandering your show off. Here we're saying it's not so. If you want to be machmer, not even to drink a glass of water. The less bring a story. Maybe they brought food just a taste. Or in the middle of the they brought away 2 dates and a pail of water. But they said, bring the sukkah. Bring the sukkah, and they did it. So this proves that you're allowed to be machmer. Very difficult how this proof supports anything. Because you're talking about a tanoim. You're trying to say that every single person wants to be machmer. Can you brought a raya from Chaim Shmedel and Bedel, whatever, went ahead and did this. But to tell me a ma'aseh that these great tanoim. Remember, you had not everyone wants to be Talmud Chacham because they can do any chumas they want. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But here you're trying to eliminate the chash of merzik. You cannot bring a rai from Tanoim how they behaved. I guess maybe because they publicized it, and that, so we're telling you that everybody can do the same thing. Not that this is a raya is a mezigere, we're just telling you it did. That we're publicizing and tell you that there's nothing wrong. Less than an egg, not play the map, he took in the map, in the bench. It sounds like from here, but how could they had to give him exactly an egg, boy? Sukkah, you need a sukkah. And before Abaye said that a yeshiva bacher who eats in the morning a mouthful, which is the size of an egg, is still exempt from a sukkah. It's only Yosim Mikabay that you need a sukkah, and here we see clearly that it's less of the bay that you potter, but a bay itself you do need a sukkah. Let me have to Rabbi Yosef, Abaya, Kasha Rabbi Yosef, and Abaya. Says the Gemara, no, you misunderstood. The 3 things here that he did here. First of all, he didn't wash. Second of all, he didn't bench. And third of all, he didn't eat a sukkah. This that was less than a beya has no bearing on sukkah. As far as sukkah is concerned, even a beya he wouldn't have eaten the sukkah. Why we're choosing a case that is less than a beya? I can explain why he didn't bench. Had it been a beya, he would have benched. He wouldn't have eaten in the sukkah, but he would have benched. Had it been a beya, he would have washed. Less than a beya, you don't have to wash your hands. We wash, but we don't make a bracha today. You wash your hands and you don't have to bench. Hakabeya. Into a bracha, you have to wash, you have to make it, but a sukkah, you don't need unless it's larger than a beya. Okay, see you tomorrow in Mitzvah.